Welcome to the fourth video in the series where we're making a frog with Godot, hopefully. Anyway, in this one what we're going to do is we're going to get the frog to die, effectively. When it hits the edges of the screen, we won't have lives or anything yet. It'll simply get reset to the bottom and we can start all over again. So to do this, we're going to need some collision that the frog can actually collide into. And rather than making a separate scene for that, we'll simply put that, I think, into the level because it doesn't really do anything else. So I'm going to select the root node for the level here and then add a new node, and that's going to be an area 2D for our collision. Then I'll call this boundary, so actually know what it is. And then we can add collision shapes to this. So we'll add a new, and we want collision shape 2D. And we basically want a boundary all the way along the left-hand side here. So on the right-hand side, we'll make a new world boundary shape 2D. And if I zoom in on that, you can see this arrow pointing upwards. That means things coming from the opposite direction, the arrow will collide into this. We need this arrow facing to the right here. So I'll click on the shape on the right-hand side, change the X to 1, and then change the Y to 0. And the arrow's now facing to the right, and that's an infinite boundary that we have now on this side. We don't need to do any more positioning or anything like that. Then I'll select boundary and add another collision shape 2D to the same area 2D. Again on the right hand side to make a world boundary shape. In this case what we want to do is get the transform and set the X here to 768, I think. That moves it all the way over there. Same issue, the arrow's facing the wrong way, so we'll open this up. We'll change the X to -1 in this case and the Y to 0. Now we're contained, or should be contained, within these infinite boundaries when we're walking around. Before we go and code up the frog to detect this though, what I'd like to do is also make a boundary for this section here with these sort of bays. And for that we'll draw a polygon. So we'll select the boundary, add a new node, and here we want to add a collision polygon 2D. And I'll select the select tool at the top here. And with the collision polygon 2D selected, what we can do is click this plus on the toolbar next to the view here, and should be able to zoom in then, just pan over and add in some points. I'm going to left click here for a point, and we really don't need to be too accurate here. If we don't get in the bay, the frog will hit this anyway. So I'm going to be very rough, just draw around the edges of here. Left clicking the mouse button to set the points, and that makes us then our collision shape, which we can also collide into. And that seems to be more or less all right. If we do have any problems, we'll adjust it. But as I said, we can be pretty rough with this, I think. So I'll do Ctrl+S to save. And what we want to do is detect the collision with this from our frog. To do this, because we'll be colliding with other things later on as well, we'll set a group name on the boundary to identify if we've hit the boundary. So I'll select the boundary and then go to, at the top here, the groups. So for me, that was off screen because I'm so zoomed in. You might see all of these, but there's inspector signals, clicking the arrow, groups, click the plus here. We could make this global, but we don't need to. We'll just leave it here. So we've got the boundary. Make sure you take note of what this spelling exactly is here. I'll hit OK. And rather handily, there's a copy here for when you need to use that later on inside the code. I'll do Ctrl+S to save. And now we can ask if we collide with something, is it in the boundary group? And if it is, then we know we've effectively died. So let's do that now then with our frog. So we'll go to our frog, select the root node here, go to the signals, double click on the area entered, and we can click connect. And that's gone all the way down the bottom of my code here. So I'll delete this out. And here then we can check whether it was the boundary. So we'll say that if the area dot is in group, and then we want boundary, and please make sure to get the same spelling. I'm going to make double sure by going back to level with boundary selected. I'll go to groups and hit the copy here and paste that in here. So if we are in the boundary group, then we've hit the boundary. For now, I'd like to just print this to the screen to make sure that everything's okay. So I'm going to call hit edge, or even better probably is hit boundary. So I'll go and save the frog scene there. And we can run this and quickly test this out. So we'll be able to scoot up to the top here and collide into the boundary. Yep, hit the boundary there. And also scoot across the left-hand side, hit the boundary. Perfect. Go all the way across and hit the boundary. Perfect. That's good. All right then. So I'll close that down. Now in the real game, we don't print something to the output the player can't see. The frog actually dies when the frog hits one of the boundaries. So we're going to start setting up the death now. And there's a couple of things to do there. One is we need an animation. When the frog dies, it's just going to spin and fade away. And when that animation finishes, the frog actually, if I go to 2D view, needs to reset itself back to its original start position down here, but only once the animation has finished. So we'll start setting this up by making the animation. So I'll go to the frog scene, and with the root node selected, go to the animation window and click add animation player, which adds one into here. Then go to animation, click new, and we'll call this death, I guess. And then what we're going to animate here is we're going to animate the rotation and the scale of the animated sprite 2D. So I'm going to select the animated sprite 2D, then click the animation window, and that will bring up the death animation with the animated sprite 2D selected. And this top bar here is a sort of quick add for some of the common properties. So I'm going to select the scale, leave the rotation selected, deselect position and click the key. Now it's offering here to create a reset track or create a reset animation with these as tracks in there. We do want this here because we'll be using that reset animation. So make sure this box is ticked. I'm going to click create. That should then add a couple of tracks for the animated sprite 2D with rotation and scale. And you should find you have a reset animation as well with the default values, which is what those are here. So let's go back to the death animation. We're also going to add a track in for visibility. I'd like to fade the frog out as well. So on the top right-hand side here, where's the inspector? There you are. I'm going to scroll down to the visibility for the animated sprite 2D. Now, maybe you don't see the keys here. If you don't, it might be because the animation window is closed. You've gone and selected this. Don't worry. Select the node itself, open up the animation window, and the keys will appear. Then the self-modulate is the one I'd like to add here. So I'm going to click that key as well. Also add it to the reset track. That's important. Let's click create. And I'll move this up a little bit, and we should have that here. Okay, so really simple, this animation. What I'm going to do is put the playhead right at the end. 1 second will also do. Select the rotation, do Control and D or Command and D to duplicate. Select the scale, Command or Control and D to duplicate. Then for the rotation value here, I'll select the key at the end of the animation, do 720. So we're going to do 2 turns. And for the scale here, select the end, and I'll do 0.05 or something really small like that. And then the self-modulate, what I'm going to do here is put the playhead somewhere around here and duplicate the key. Then put the playhead at the end, duplicate. Select the final key, go to the value, and make this fully transparent as well. And that should be all we need for the animation. So to check this out, we can put the player back at the beginning, press play, and that's the sort of death animation of our frog. Now at the same time, we can also play a sound here as well to indicate that the frog has died. We could either do that from inside the code or the animation. Let's do it inside the animation. So I'm going to select the frog here, add a new audio stream player, and I'm going to call this a death sound. And then what we can do is add actually a track for this playing as well. So down inside the animation, the death animation here, I'm going to put this playhead back to the beginning, click the plus here, add an audio playback track, select the death sound and click OK. Then I'm really running out of space here. That's better. What I'm going to do is right click, insert a key, and then click on the key here. And on the right hand side, we can grab hold of the stream. That's going to be the retro arcade lose here. So I'll left click on that. And what's really handy about this with the animations, you can see actually the length of the clip here, and you can actually offset it as well by dragging these and changing. You can see that changing how long it lasts. So you can time things really nicely this way with animations. For our timing here, I think basically we can put this somewhere near the start. That will do. So if I play this animation, I now get the sound really, really loud. That probably drowned out my voice there. So I'll put that back to the beginning, do Control S to save. So that's the animation set up. What we want to do now is react to when this animation finishes. So let's select the animation player, go to the signals, and then we can double click on the animation finished signal. And I'll take the default there. That looks okay. Click connect, and that should hopefully land inside our code. There it is. Now we can ask, is the animation called death, the one that's finished, using the animation name here? And if it is, then we can do whatever we need to do, which is going to be reset the frog. So we've got a little bit of code to do. So let's go into distraction-free mode, and I'll do Control and S to save. The first thing I'd like to do is all the way at the top here. I'd actually like to set a new state on here. We're going to have a couple of these or new states added into here, and this one's going to be called the death state. In fact, probably I think dead is actually more of a state name than death. Death is something that's happening, isn't it? Now we can write ourselves a function actually to play our animation. So let's scroll down a little bit, and below the finish hop, we'll write a new function called die. And inside here, we want to return if we're already in the death state. Otherwise, we can set our state equal to dead. And then we'll turn off physics processing. So we do no updating or movement or anything like that. So we'll set physics process to false. Not process, but physics process. And then we can play our animation. Now, as I type anim here, do we have the animation player? No, we don't. So I'll come out of distraction-free modes and scroll all the way back up to the top here. Let's drag in a reference to our animation player. Then I'll go into distraction-free mode, go all the way back down to, where's our function? Here it is. We can do animation player.play. And we want to play then our death animation. Do Control S to save. And now when we hit a boundary, instead of just printing to the output here, what we can do is invoke our die function, which should then play our death animation. So before doing the reset procedure, let's check out that this is working okay. So I'm going to run the application. What we should be able to do now is scoot across and see ourselves die. Let's have a look. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so we're not resetting or anything, but we are dying when we hit this. So I'll close that down and close down the output. Let's now deal with the resetting. So we want to be able to reset ourselves to the original position. To do that, we need to know what the starting position was. So what we'll do is we'll add ourselves a new variable called start position, which is going to be a vector2. So I'll put this below hop direction and call this start position. And we can set this already in the ready when we're first instantiated. So we'll do start position is equal to our current global position. And we're going to use this whenever we want to reset ourselves to our starting position, which is why we're setting this variable inside at the ready. What we can do now is write ourselves a function called reset to start. So what we'll do then is we'll set our global position to be our start position. We can set our state to be the idle state. Our hop direction will be vector2.0. Our animated sprite 2D can now play the stand animation. And our animation player can play its reset animation, so we become visible and whole again. And finally, last but not least, we can turn physics process on. So we'll set physics process to true. And for sort of safety state, what we can also do is get this reset to start here and actually invoke this straight from the ready here. And that should have us now resetting continuously every time we die. So I'm going to run the application and then scoot all the way up here and crash into the barriers. And when we finish, do we reset? No, we don't reset, which is interesting. And of course, we don't reset because I haven't invoked the function, have I? So what I'm going to do is grab hold of the reset to start here. And let's scroll all the way down to the animation finished. And now we want to check whether it is the death animation. So we can say if the animation name is equal to death, then we can invoke our reset to start. Now things hopefully should be working okay. So again, I'm going to scoot up to the top of the screen, try and crash into this. So we die. Yes, and then we've been reset. And the other thing I want to test as well is that nothing weird happens as we're dying. No, I can't press any keys or anything like that. Cool, excellent. We still have the problem we can run off the bottom of the screen. We'll deal with that later on. But we've now got the frog contained and also able to die and reset itself, which is important for the game later on. So I'll close that down, close down the output. And that seems to be, I think, a reasonable place to stop this particular video. I hope you've enjoyed that one. What we're going to do in the next video is actually add a game controller, which is going to be responsible for handling the frogs, the lives, the scorings, and things like that. So thanks very, very much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in the next video.